So I just watched the episode of the pilot episode of Mulaney. I think before really going into this all, I really want to just kind of state that I really find John Mulaney as a great comedian. I've always found his work funny, and that's why I tuned into the show. On that, I'm very iffy on the whole premise, and kind of going back to like what I was saying with the pilot episode of Seinfeld. I understand that with the pilot episode, there's always the whole feeling out process and deciding what works and what doesn't work, and you kind of have to rehash some things. So, and I think watching this, there is a lot that I feel needs to be worked on. I think the most striking to me is with, well, first of all, I think that the opening scene of this is really just recounting a joke from his stand-up, which is the Xanax story and getting the prostate exam. It's funny. It's good. The thing, unless it's kind of in that stand-up setting, like when he's doing the stand-up, and like they opened the show with him doing stand-up, and it's one of his standard jokes in it. So the problem with that is, like, why are we not just watching a stand-up in that case? You know what I mean? And it works. It's just, I don't know. It felt like just forced on to us. It felt forced onto us, like those fingers in his butt. I feel like, again, it feels stuffed. I guess that's what I want to say. It has the side characters, the supporting characters in there, and it's just like, I get it. I get that with pilots you kind of have to establish things. So I don't know. It's an interesting. It's hard to put. I think with this, and when I'm mentioning the supporting characters, I think it's important to note that the supporting characters are all kind of very wacky. They're eccentric, I guess is what you would say. Which is that's the general sitcom. The general sitcom kind of setup. You have all these eccentric characters, and you kind of revolve around this one guy. I think that's pretty much how Seinfeld worked to the most part. I know that's how a lot more recent sitcoms have worked, like Big Bang Theory. Which I'm gonna be honest, I don't watch a lot of recent sitcoms, so my opinions might be a bit biased, I guess, in that sense. But what comes off, and this just might be that, you know, I think Mulaney might be nervous acting or needs to work on that a bit more. I'm not sure if this was just kind of his own delivery, but it felt very unnatural coming from him. It felt like he was kind of using his joke-telling voice for his like normal everyday voice. And I don't know the guy. I'm not sure if that's how he always is. That's how his voice always is. That's how he kind of talks. But the way it came off in the show was that he's just kind of as eccentric as the rest of the characters, which as the kind of the main guy, he's the way they're writing him, he's kind of the straight guy. And the way it is with like the straight guy is that kind of he's the regular Joe, and he's kind of reacting to the insanity that's going around him, that is the supporting characters. And there is insanity going on. His friend, his roommate, and his lady friend. By the way, I was kind of surprised to see Nasim Pedrad. Gorgeous lady. Did a good job. But good to see. Just surprised to see her. But going off on a tangent. But yeah, he has these very eccentric side characters. You have his roommate, who's kind of who's a comedian in his own aspect, with the odd problem bitch t-shirt and joke going on. His crazy Nasim Pedrad, and his boss, who's the most eccentric of them all. And John, he just seems kind of just like another like on one end it feels like he's just as eccentric, or two, just like he's just basically exposition man, which doesn't even work. It doesn't. It comes, like I said, it comes off unnatural, and it just didn't work at all. And when he said, like I said, I like Mulaney. I think he's a very funny guy. And I came to watch this show because I enjoyed his stand-up. But again, I think you have to remember, this is the pilot episode. I'm going to keep on watching and see how this goes. But, it's very iffy. It didn't, I don't know, it's very iffy. And I'd be interested to see what the perspective is of people who've never heard of Mulaney and just kind of watched this. Be interested to see that. I think one funny moment, I'm trying to think of, I had to take big pauses. I think one funny moment was so in the show, Mulaney kind of is working as a comedian or a writer comedian, and so he gets hired to write jokes for this television host, and so they kind of have this breast cancer awareness event, and so his boss is going to do he's going to do a routine or whatever, and so Mulaney was supposed to open for him, but it turns out he can't make it, and so what goes on is that Mulaney has to read a message that says, "Oh, he can't make it, but he has this standee," and so he makes this announcement. So he's like, "You can take a picture with this stand-in or whatever," and so he kind of goes back and he's just like, "What the hell just happened?" I thought that was really good. That felt like Mulaney's joke-telling voice. It works well in certain occasions, but not as an everyday. This is my casual speaking voice. Another joke I found funny was is the boss's assistant called Mulaney, and she's like, "Oh, the boss wants to speak to you," and Mulaney's just like, "Oh, what happened? Did his standee kill an escort? An escort?" I found that funny, but yeah, that's all my thoughts I really have on Mulaney so far. Just not all too impressive, but it's the pilot episode, so keeping that in mind, let's see how things change. I really want this show to succeed. I like Mulaney. I think he's a very funny guy, and hell, I would love to watch a new sitcom. So yeah, let's stay in tune.